special extras live stream sort of thing. The reason why I'm doing this as a live stream is just for me to be a quick way to jot down notes as I move back and forth across the room. Now, there are plenty of ways I could do this. I could actually write it down on pad and paper. I'm not familiar. It's not that I'm not familiar with that. I feel like I just get confused. I do have a Lego Digital Designer mock-up of the room to try to jot notes down, and I just thought of like, well, if I wanted to do it in a video format, I could record a video, but I feel like it's going to eat up a lot of space on my device, so I feel like this is a free way of me just getting it recorded and then getting to play it back to see what ideas I come up with and what measurements I make. So, this is a way of me trying to update the Lego room, and hopefully I can get somewhere more progressive with this. Not that the room is bad as it is, I feel like there are ways that it could be improved on so that it could be more efficient. So I'm going around to the room, I'm measuring different furniture and space between objects and walls just to see if I can make something that's going to be better fit. Now, I have done this multiple times before when updating the Lego room, and I thought I had it good enough. But I feel like I could do it one step better in a way that I didn't really consider before. And it's basically a snowball of a whole bunch of other things. I basically went from doing I basically went from thinking of one way of moving around some of the shelf units to one way of rearranging the spot in the room where the shelves would be and accommodating that with the table, trying to move that around, to moving the computer and all of its assemblies to another part of the room, to moving the Lego town, the beach town itself, and the tables, like moving those around and rearranging what's on the table, and it's a nightmare. It's honestly just a nightmare. So I'm doing the best that I can with this to stay sane, but hopefully I can use this video as a way of taking the measurements real time, jotting down different notes or ideas, and hopefully I won't forget about them. Hopefully I won't forget this video exists, so if I come back to this later, I can actually be like, well, I could do it that, or I could add a new idea in here. So, yeah, as far as everything goes. Hopefully this room will get a lot better as far as organization goes, and it's not just from yesterday that inspired me to do this, it's a whole bunch of things I've just wanted to do for a while, and I was trying to figure out if there was a more efficient way and a more useful way of setting it up. So, the first thing I want to touch upon is the area that's by the Lego library, the computer desk as I have it now, and a little wedge of space where there's the rainbow cart. Right before it gets to the curtain, with a whole bunch of electrical units next to it and the circuit board and things like that. The area from that wall that juts there to the end of the Lego library is 76 inches. And that is significant for moving around different shelves that might go into that place, trying to put that computer desk over on another area, but I will measure each of the units in just a bit. I want to do the spaces first. And that is an area I want to cover because even though I do have a little bit more beyond that, I think for now that stays fine. And I still have enough area in here to play with. If I need to rearrange that, I will worry about it when it happens. The area from the... I don't know if it's any easier if I just turn this thing around. The area from... Still not turned around enough. The area from the edge of this brown bookshelf to this curtain, like the wall that's jutting out from it. The area in between there is a little hard for me to measure because there's a whole bunch of stuff in the way. Not that I can't bend around them, but I'm not sure if it's gonna like affect the measurement by too much. Alright, let me see if I can do that. Real-time madness over here. Alright, let me see. If I just try to like hold on to this and still get the reading, the area, or the gap in between those two things is about it's about 45.5 inches. So I do have a thing that I'm actually jotting this down on. Lego Digital Designer, the mock-up. So 45. Let's make a decimal here. 45 point. It's a rough estimate, but it's enough that I could be like, well, if something goes wrong, I could play in between the two. 45.5. Let's change the color of this. Let's see if I can like bring it out the right amount. Run along here. Gonna color that yellow to make it about the total. Now the thing that's funny about that wall is that oh crap, that was measured from the other thing. This is a good thing that I'm recording this on a quote-unquote live stream, so I could figure that out. Actually, let me throw those colors back in. I'm gonna throw it from let's see, this to about that. We're gonna color code this yellow still. Hey, Brick Ricky. So, it may be complicated, as Maniac for Bricks usually is, but I am trying to measure the space between different parts of the wall and measuring different units again by inches to see how I can rearrange things in the Lego room and try to fit them better. Like, I feel like the building table could be in a better spot, the computer desk could be in a better spot, the bookshelves could be much better, but I'm seeing what's gonna work mathematically between those. So, pardon me for a moment while I get that all arranged. I'm gonna do this in green. Let's see. Try to set up another one here. That'll be... yeah, that'll work. Okay, so this one's gonna be red then. What I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to find the distance between certain objects as well as certain parts of the wall. Oh, nope. Give me that. Deleting it by accident. Let's see now. You know what? No, I'm gonna change the color of that. It might be confusing with the wall next to it. All right, so that space is going to be 45.5. Next thing I want to measure is the space between, because in particular on this wall there is a built-in outlet. Like, it's a wire that's running through here. I can't really move that, and it's something I could probably use. So I'm gonna measure now the distance from that outlet to this wall, which is mostly where these units are. And let's see what I can do. Do it like this. I'm looking about 13. And I say about because I can't get much closer without moving the furniture itself. So Let me see if I can grab another one of these. I'm going to color code this one green, or I guess in this case lime green. And we had about 13 for that. So now I'll, Brick Daddy, how's it going? So I'm trying to do some room updating, and that involves a bunch of measurements in the different parts of the wall or distances between objects. Wait, what was that? Ah, sounds great. Thank you. I'm probably making it overtly complicated, but I'm trying to do something that satisfies my my brain. It's just thinking in a weird way that I am just trying to make it doable. Take one step back, change that. I know it's weird to not see anything here. You have to watch like the first few minutes of the video. But I mentioned before that I have a LEGO Digital Designer mock-up of the room, not to scale, pulled up right now to give me something to work from as like a model, something that I could use to get an idea of where things are in the room. Because if I write it out, I probably won't make it descriptive or like make sense. I've had sometimes before where I'm like, is that the height or is that the length or the width? And like I want to avoid those kinds of issues. All right, so let me change that on this wall of that. And what's funny is I actually made the letters or numbers out of Lego pieces, so they shouldn't be too complicated for the for like I made the letters out of 1x1s to correspond with the measurements I'm taking. So it should be enough where I can actually go through and be like, oh, I can just copy paste that number combination. Just made like a 1 to 9 with a 0 to 9. That's it. Actually, I didn't make a 0 in here. Should probably do that. That would be a good idea. Boom, 0. I'll just space it out a little bit. There we go. Yeah. So now we got that. All right. So now what I want to do is measure the distance between the what was that? 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. What I want to do now is measure the distance between the for like the entire wall at this point, I think. Is that the one I want to do? No, I didn't get an entire wall measurement. Dang it. I need to set up another measurement here. Okay. For that to happen. It's like in a remote way, this actually does work a lot like a whatchamacallit. Let's see. Okay, good. Purple is an option in here. Again, the color coding is impeccable. Or vital, I should say, to my strategy. So currently, I have a color coding system for this wall. Has like 4 different measurements that I'm going to take. One of them was the Let's see if I can illustrate it here. We have purple that is going to be from the corner where there's like a series of boxes, but I figure I'm not really going to move those boxes around because anything that goes in that corner is going to need that bit of buffer space. It's from where the boxes meet to... Ow! That was not good, but also it didn't damage a lot, so I'll fix it later. Edge of the boxes to edge of this wall is purple. If I look back at my screen, I'll see if I can figure out the other ones. This wall is complicated for the areas of measurement that I'm taking. Okay, so from the edge of this bookshelf to this wall is yellow. From the outlet to this wall is green. And then there's a blue in here, but I don't remember what the blue is. Oh, the blue... Wait. The blue is from the outlet to the bookcase. Wait, the boxes. Really? Yes. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because I want to be sure, like, if I take everything out of here and I want to move stuff into that space, how is it going to work? Okay, that makes sense. So I need the blue and purple, which is box to the wall and box to the outlet. Okay. I'm not going to worry about... I'm worried right now about the gaps instead of the furniture, because the furniture will fit into those gaps a little later. So if I know what I'm working with, then I can do that. And actually, I can do this at 2-in-1, because I'm going to pass the outlet on the way to the wall. So I can see both of those at the same time. Hopefully, again, it is accurate. Or, yeah, like very accurate. So I do my best to try to hold this up. And I'm like eyeballing it to outlet. I need another ruler or something to set this off, so I can have it at the right thing. I'm like on the cusp of a box. Damn it. I apologize if I curse more than that. It's probably gonna happen. Alright, let me try to the wall first, see what we can do. And I could probably do the math to split in between them. Theoretically, I should be able to do that. Alright. Hold still. Dang it. Come on, hold still. So to me, it looks to be... Come on! It's 12 at night. I don't need this. Nobody needs this. So it looks to be about between 81 and 82. I'm gonna put it down as 81 and a half. Because I already had a half measurement before. That kind of made sense. So 81 and a half is the purple. Alright. Let's get 8, 1, then a point. I'll stand that out much further. 5. So according to our logic, or according to our measurements, we should be able to find blue by subtracting... we should be able to find blue by subtracting green from purple. Or blue from purple, because according to my notes, green plus purple, or green plus blue equals purple. Yeah. Green plus blue. Yes. Yeah, because I don't have a measurement of yellow plus something equals purple. I don't think that's going to matter because that wall's probably going to, or that bookshelf is probably going to be worked around anyways. Let's see what we can do about that. Green plus blue equals purple. So that means purple. This is going to be so much fun on the rewatch for anyone that's trying to follow along with all this nonsense. Yeah, 81.5 minus 13 equals 68.5. 68.5 is supposed to be the blue. So let me just add those numbers into the thing, not the calculator. 0.5. Theoretically, that should be the lineup there. I'm gonna measure it just to be sure. See that all actually adds up. Like I said, the problem with this is I can't get right at the wall. So I'm gonna try to measure out to 68.5 and see if the outlet is like in front of it. 60. Okay, 68. So here's my problem. I didn't measure the space around the outlet. I kind of did it from like one end over or one end over. Because like when I measured this space, it was only to that side of the outlet. And there is, that hidden measurement in between there that accounts for the outlet itself, which is about 2 inches. It's like 2 1/3 or something. It's between 2 and 2.5 inches. I guess I'll add in a thing for the outlet itself underneath here. 2 something inches. Alright. 2. Making this one very simple underneath all the other measurements. All right, so let's think about this. We have 81.5 minus 2 minus 13, 66.5. So, if we measure this out again from the box to that edge of the outlet, it should be about 66 or 67, or in between. Because that's where I was getting like an odd, oh, that's where it didn't quite line up. Okay, let me try putting my finger up. I want to try to hold this here, and then hold my finger and follow it along to the wall, down a bit to the outlet. My hand's not going to be straight. It's not a straight line. It's trying to think of another straight edge I have around here, or if I can pin this spot. If I can pin this spot where my thumb is or something, and then turn the ruler the tape measure around to get that as a straight edge, jutting out from the wall. Not worried about like what jut out is, but to see like where it meets up with the wall at this point. Okay, let me see if I can. Come on! These are the kinds of things that could take me like all day to set up and arrange. Alright, let me see if I can do that. Hold my thumb. Hold my thumb. I hope this is right. It's hard to tell. It's like I need another ruler or something to point it out. But I'm not going to go in between every one of these objects. That's like measuring around your waist for girth. It's like, because it's rounded, or because it's jutting out more, it will, make the measurement wider. Insert fat joke here, probably. Alright, how about this? I do it the opposite way. Let's try from the unit out here, and I'm just going to hold my hand along there. So at the very edge of my thumb, wait. Let's try that again. From the edge of my thumb, can I make it like a... Knocking over stuff in the background. Can I... Try to make like an L shape or something to mark it off. Yeah, it's not so easy when you have to do it one-handed. And one-manned. Alright. That should be more than enough. Maybe too much. That's 44. Okay. So we'll lift this up. Hopefully it won't crackle. From here, measuring over to the boxes. Hopefully pretty even. We have, survey says, okay, let me get this thing out of the way. Even if it falls on the floor, it's in the way of the measurement. Like I said, real-time measurements. And all the frustration that goes with them. For one guy. Alone in his basement. Not creepy at all. So measuring... Jeez. Measuring from that point, it's about 67 inches. The math checks out. The math lines up. So, okay. Wait a minute. Let me do this math again. So the 81.5 minus 2 minus 13, 66.5. Okay. I had to change the number in here because I originally had for blue the distance I just measured. I originally had that as 68 because I didn't factor in the outlet. And that, approximate length. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but I'm asking for something that's tangible, something that I can, maneuver a little bit around. Okay, so I'm glad we got that wall finished. As far as the other wall, we've got only one measurement for that, so that's good. Now, I wanted to move on to the back wall. That's kind of what made me start on this stream. The tricky thing about the back wall... Oh, I guess if I turn it, it'll work. The tricky thing about doing the back wall here is that I don't know where to start and where to end. because I need to have enough room for a person to walk in between them to reach each corner. And maybe that'll work. I need enough room for a person to walk on this side to reach these curtains and reach this side of the table, or to walk on this side to reach these curtains, circuit board, anything that's along here. So you would think like, oh, this I could leave as is. Well, here's the tricky thing. I was going to measure this side. And I actually was going to measure the tables out of curiosity. Because I figured, oh, this back wall is probably the best place to put the beach towel and the tables because it has the most length to it, and I can, and it's against a wall mostly, and it won't be in the way of anything. And, it'll be something that can be walked around as part of the beach town, but also it's part of that anyways. I had the frustrating thought that what I thought was a 6x3 table and a 3x3.5 table could be adjusted. Now, this is a thought that I had before when I was working on the beach town, trying to incorporate a train into it. The problem that I had was trying to get the table measurements and trying to see if I should shift the entire town or shift the trains, and see how it affects everything else surrounding it. Because I wanted to have a shoreline, it got in the way of doing the train over here. So I kind of had to confine to doing it over there. Here's the thing now. If I wanted to solve one of the problems that I have with the train being in the town, aside from measurements, one of the biggest problems that I have with the train being in the town is leveling. It's spread along two tables. This chair is in the way. The train track in an oval is spread along two tables, and those tables are not level with each other, so it has a bit of an incline and in either direction when it comes to the train moving around. That has affected how it's run in the past few months that the train has been up here. So, here's one thought I had. I thought, well, if each of these things are roughly the same in one measurement, each of the tables are roughly the same in one measurement of 3 feet or whatever, what if I move around the tables and it would keep the same basic layout on top of it, and I'd still have to take everything off, put everything on. It would keep the same layout on top of it, but it would keep the train more level. Here's the problem with that. The train is a little bit longer than what the table is. This table is indeed 6 feet in that direction. But I was wrong about the 3 foot, or about 3 feet. Because as I measured this from metal end to metal end, it's actually an exact 30 inches. That's why in the original plan that's why in one of the plans for the beach town being here, I was able to fit 3 base plates along flush, which is great. The problem is, it wouldn't accompany the train as it is. The train sits along 3 and then some base plates. Because it's like 3 regular 32 by 32 base plates and an extra 8. So 32, 64, 96, 104. 104 studs in one direction, which is longer than what I'm looking for. If I trim back the 8, if I trim back that extra 8, I could fit it along 3 base plates wide, and it would fit along the table this way. If this table moved to the back, it would fit along there as an oval, happy joy, and everything else. The problem with that is, if I make the oval smaller, and I actually already made it smaller than previous measurements, if I made it smaller in that way, it would cut into everything that's in the town. It would scrunch up a whole bunch of stuff. Now, I gotta go to the bathroom. So if anybody joins the stream, sorry, be right back. Just gonna type that up here. Okay, I'm back. I don't know if anybody else. Thank you, Brick Rookie. I'm glad I have something that's counts as a good plan. It's mostly just tossing things up and seeing what happens. So, as I was saying, if I shorten the town by 8, I think each of these there's like one there's one straight track on either end of the curves. So that means it'll be 8 in. When it's 8 in, it'll be running over some of the road plates. only a little bit into the actual road itself. And I say that because this one is already along the end of its plate. So, trying to think this through. That's weird. This one, for the crossroads, it has 6 studs by 6 studs as each corner. And I guess I'd have that 2 stud overlap be okay. It's not really gonna affect the road that much. It only covers like a little bit of the crosswalks. And one side it'll definitely cover the crosswalk entirely. Eventually I'll put a ramp in there or whatever, but that might not be a big change for the whole thing. And the reason why I say 8 in is because each of these was, the straight tracks were 16 long. And I want to get 8 off from the end of the extra base plate or so, that layer along here. It's going to take 8 out, and then there's going to be 8 remainder. 8 remainder is going to be going inward. So that might not be that bad. But here's the worst part about it. All the curvature in between them. Because now you have the curve with like some leniency on the outside to almost no leniency, or to some leniency on the inside to no leniency, or like maybe 1 or 2 studs of it. If the curve starts there, then can base plates be fitting in between here as they are? Like, basically, on the edges of the town are supposed to be the residences. And in between parts of the town are going to be the major buildings, shops, stores, whatever it's going to be. Things for people to visit. On the outside, it's supposed to be residences and maybe more of those shops, depending on how it goes. There was also tentative going to be residences on the other side of the track over here and over on this side of the track. If the curve is shortened to there, that means these buildings are not going to stay where they are. I have enough curves here, I think. If it's not here, maybe it's another thing? Okay. I might have to get the railway. Might have to get the Railway Express then to do this. Dave Frost, how's it going? Oh, nice. 2 days away. Alright. Let's see. Here's the first thing. I know that measuring the table this way, 6 feet, means... Dang chair. It's in the way of the visual or whatever. Yeah, I pulled out a bunch of containers, so it's kind of messy. Here's the first thing I know. This being 6 feet, which I have measured, it is exactly 6 feet long, is longer than what it is now from this end to that other table's end. That way, it's like 5-ish, which I thought at the time when I made that, it's like, okay, that's good, so it allows enough room to go in between here and go in between there. And it could jut out a little bit more here, but it'll still have enough walk space. Well, I'm finding that some of my organizational methods aren't organized, and the table and chair being where it is not helping with that, like walking around it. So, it would jut out a little bit more by about a foot, or half a foot here, half a foot over there, or some combination, or some compromise between them. It'll jut out a little bit more against the wall, but it'll still justify having it there against the wall. And here's the other good thing about it. I can make the track a little bit longer, and maybe even add another base plate longer. So it will accompany more in between the town. So that's good. But it means on each end of the town, where the curve is, it's going to be much shorter. So that means 1 or 2 buildings on either end are going to be cut. I'm not sure by how much. And I was going to come over here for my extra pair of tracks to see by how much that cut would be. So, right now I have a quarter. I have a quarter of, or no, I have half of a curve right here. And I'm sorry if I can't read the comments from that far away. My eyes aren't that good. I have a curve here. It's supposed to be in between, half a curve, or half a circle, I should say. This by itself will occupy, if I sit it right next to, I'm gonna, maybe I'll try on the other side of it. Maybe I should just go with the full curve from one direction or the other. Trying to see how I'm going to do this. I'd hate to make the entire town change again, especially when I've only been doing 2 updates for this currently. If I did make a change again, I would record another update, like spruce this up a little bit more, record another update, put that out soon, and then do the changes. Where it's, major, like, table rearrangement and things. Because not much has happened since the last update, and I could definitely, like, add a few things here and there, spruce it up, and show that I had like 1 or 2 buildings that were added in here, and try to work it around a bit. So it'd be like, oh, here's a little better idea of the layout. Let's see now. If we had this curve, I'll just move the train along. If we had the curve here, let me take out that building, and it starts popping up this way. And then it ends off over here. Okay, yeah, I got it. Here we go. This is what I'm looking for. If we corner it off like this, that doesn't make any sense. It's going to go right into the road. That's a lot more than what I thought before. It's really odd. Okay. When I said that I would take out the 16 length of straight track, and then I put the curve in, I didn't factor that it was going to be the entire 16 across. I thought it was going to be like 8, and then a little bit of wedge. Okay, that's different. So that means I'm going to need the flexi track to be a very small straight track. Because I'm not going to cut any of the Lego pieces. At least currently. Especially straights that I don't have a lot of. I'm going to have to use a few flexi track pieces to accumulate to a 6. Or 6 or something like that. Actually, let me do one thing here. Try to move the train out of the way. Oh wait, this one's off the track. There we go. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna keep this in here. So let's say I bring it to there. That means I'll still have the 16 by 16, 16 by 16. 8 by 16 is not going to work. And it might even be tight with this curve. I mean, it works okay right now for this house. I don't know what houses are going to go in here later, or what other buildings are going to go in here later. It seems to work okay making it around there. Okay, yeah, that won't be touched. So, that means I need to work out the space, the 8 by 16 space next to that, and what that's going to be used for. Let's see now. It's kind of hard having track on top of track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a couple regular 1x2 bricks. I'm going to put the height over it. So that way, they're still connected, but, or it'll look like it's connected, but it's like not going to interfere with the track that's already on there. I'm probably more complicated with this than I should be. If that disclaimer hasn't already been made, which I think it has, keep that in mind. Alright, so if I lay this over and line it up with this track, so that way, dang it has to be one more in. Okay, so that way we have it over that. I'm going to grab my iPod and tramp over more stuff to get a better idea of this. Oh, you said it'll be right back. Okay. Sorry. I didn't see that. Okay. So now I'm trying to think about this. I moved the track curve in enough so that the edge of the rail would meet up with the edge of this row of base plates, not the ones next to it. I'm actually going to check real quick. Since it's an even number, it should work, but I could be wrong. I'm going to check real quick to see if I could fit a few pieces of FlexiTrack in between the curves. There's already like a big mess of stuff in that bin already that's been pouring out to the side. At this point, it's like, yeah, fun. All right. So, from here, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. 8. That's the magic number that I needed. And this is 8. Okay. So that's 2 pieces of FlexiTrack. 2 pieces of FlexiTrack could fit along here, in between parts of the curve. And it's so small of using the FlexiTrack, it shouldn't interfere with the train. I'm not saying this is something that was on my mind while using it, but it is something that I experimented with before, and that has been dubbed by some in the community as a problem. Like, a thing that you can't use FlexiTrack for. Or you can use it for, but there could be a problem with it as a result. So I'm going to sit that right next to it. And there we go. I'll get my phone out, or iPod, whatever it is, out again. You know what? Let me, like, show it on either side. It's like jutting off the table a little bit and hard to tell parts of where the track is. So I'm just going to make a little marker or so to say, like, this is where the new track could be. Okay, so now, if I do that, the FlexiTrack won't be that long, and I could swing this around. That means this 8x16 plate will not have anything occupying it. Or, here's the other idea about it, or if I build 16x16 buildings, and I want to, like, split in between them, I could do that, but it might be a little difficult on whatever's on that side. Because I was going to say, like, oh, maybe it doesn't take up the whole base plate, but I could use, like, some of it or something. Like a gas station or whatever. Yeah, that's still going to be hard to work with. So I'm thinking what I could do, instead of all that stuff, is just make the 8x16 in those spots blank until I find a solution. I think that's probably the best way I'm going to go about this is blank until I find a solution. So that way I can have my shorter track that will work with the right size of the table thing. You know, it'll work with this along, spreading in this direction. It will be longer that direction because, like I said before, the distance between here and there, reaching over to that table, is like this distance is greater than that one. So the track itself will be longer and therefore accompanying more base plates with it. I'm actually, I'm kind of curious how that would set up, but I'll work that out in a little bit. I can actually do that in Digital Designer, and I'll just lose half a building at best. Not too bad. Especially when in the middle, I will gain a whole bunch of space, and that will allow me to build more buildings in between them. Yeah, that's pretty good. Because where the 32 by 32 buildings are, most of my buildings in my town are going to be 8 by 16 or 16 by 16 for shops or whatever. Restaurants, that kind of stuff. Most of the houses are going to be maybe 16 by 16, but I'm going to see a lot of bungalows as 8 by 16s. This orange house that I put over here is what I started as a bungalow, but I'm going to still work around with it and see how it's going to become other things. I don't know if it's going to change for that one. Could be just a fancier house. Because it could be different classes of houses in the beach town. There's supposed to be a Thunderbird Hotel inspired mock over on that side, but I will work that out when I get there. Or it could be in the middle of the town now that I have that extra inner option, which I think it'll be a lot better that way. Like, I would be happier if I fit more stuff inside of the town than on the outskirts. But I will still consider the outskirts as an option. So, with that being said, that's pretty good. And it'll actually open up to do more stuff inside of the town. Like, I've wanted for a long time to have a beach town car show. And the way the town is positioned right now, it doesn't really work for that. It kind of has a bike show along that other side near the hospital, but if I rearrange the town and I occupy more space in there, it'll be a longer drag, and I could have more of them like parked next to the street. Even though part of the street would be compromised by a train, it'll still be doable. Like even with the train track along the curve and whatnot, it'll still be space for cars to go around them. Like, I don't think they're going to smash into it. And what I'm trying to do as far as trains go, and I think most LEGO trains and train designers, mock designers and things like that, I think for most of them, they consider the 6 for width on a train. Maybe a little half or a fraction or something outside of that, but for the most part, it should be between 6 and 8 for the train width. That way, it doesn't hit anything along a curve or a straight outside of the track. That's pretty good then. So, that is a good plan. That would be a great plan if I didn't have so much stuff to move. And that's not even the stuff on top of the table, but that's the stuff underneath the table. And I don't really know how the arrangement of all of those Sterilites are going to change around with that in mind. Because think about it. That's the straightest part, that's the longest part of the table. And that table is going to move approximately where this is. So I'll still have the shoreline along here. And what's greater about it, actually, is that I will gain more shoreline. Like, it'll be a longer thing that way. So that way, I can add a little bit more to the town. It's weird, but it actually works. Kind of. I'm looking at it this way, and I'm like, well, it is basically the same thing, just different direction, and that's over here. But it's still, like the way the tables are lined up, it still kind of makes sense. Anywho. As far as that goes, that's pretty good. I don't really have much else I want to move around these. I do know that by extending the beach town width from those sides, it means I'm going to have to move some things around here, which is basically just one column of boxes. It shouldn't be too bad. I don't think that's going to be a big issue. But like I said, it's more about the stuff that's on or underneath the table that's going to have major moving around to do. I just hope that nobody's doing laundry upstairs so that I can actually shove a bunch of this stuff out into the laundry room and then bring it back when it's ready. So that's basically what I'm going to do here. That goes for any boxes that are along this side. There's like a whole, there's like a half a aisle of boxes that are outside of the table that's gathering up here, and I really need to work on that. But yeah, those will probably be the first to go too. Okay. Now we get back to the reason why I started this in the first place. So I'm not really going to record too many of the measurements around here. This was more of like working with this interior space. So that's not going to be a big deal as far as writing it all down and measuring it. Like I'm sure I should really have like an almanac of all the furniture that's in this room, all the distances and heights of between things in the room, like from here to that wall, from that wall to that wall, and things like that. I should technically have those measurements anyways, so I can always come back to them. But at least for now, I have some written down that I need right now, and the rest, if I need them, I'll come back to them later and take those. Just gonna leave that track there for now, and I'll leave this on here to give me like the oh yeah, I had that idea, and hopefully I can actually make that happen. Straight track. I do have a handful more, but I don't know by how much. So I don't know how long here I would need to make more. But here's the good thing. I already gained 2 of them from cutting it out on the curves. So it's another 1 in either direction. That's good. I may have 1 or 2 other ones that are lying about somewhere, but I'm not sure. As far as base plates go along here, to give some perspective on it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's like a half, 3/4, and then a little bit on the end. 7. This is basically 7 base plates that are 32 by 32, 7 base plates long. And my current town setup with the track for the train running around it is a little bit under 5. No, it's a little bit under 6 base plates long. So think about that. Not only am I gaining an extra base plate in length, but I'm also gaining the edge of the base plate. Because actually on here, it's like 4 or 5 studs inward on either end. So that's really good. Like if I could really pull that off and extend the curve to the very edges of the table or very close to the edges of the table, then I would have I'd have that to work around. That's not bad. Now there is another question that I have in here that I didn't really like. I kind of considered it before, but I didn't do it through all the other doobly-doos, and that is the metal frame around the table. That could throw off the curve a little bit, but it shouldn't be too bad. I checked with each curve based on the base plates, and it's about a stud or 2 in terms of thickness inside of the table. So if I really had a case, I could take out a piece of FlexiTrack to make the curve a little bit smaller, but not like 2 curves next to each other in the semicircle. Like it'll still have a little bit of straight, and then goes back into the curve, but it'll still be like within the metal frame. And in terms of the length of the track, like all the straight track going along, right now I have only like 1 or 2 other straight track that isn't even on the table that I would be able to work into that. I think that'll be fine. Yeah, that's pretty good. So yeah, that'll be fun to try to figure out later. It's a lot of maneuvering stuff. Because as much as I could just like pick up everything and move it around, I have a feeling that a lot of it is going to fall off the table and get lost. So, and I still have other stuff around the table that I need to move, so I can't pick them up right away either. So, my best bet is move the stuff off the table, put it in some sort of safe area, a box or Tupperware or something that I can contain them in, and it won't get in the way of moving the tables. And all the furniture, boxes around it, move all that stuff around too. Then I could move these tables around, which will be probably the easiest part about it, all things considered. Then take all the base plates off and cry and rearrange the base plates before laying them down. Then get the mounting tape or buy more rolls of it or something. Because I definitely need the thicker mounting tape along this table in particular, because it doesn't really hold that well with other smaller ones. I need the thicker mounting tape to move along this table, and put it underneath everything. Because I only did it before under like 2 or 3 base plates, and you could see them warp. Not the base plates, but there's enough of a bend there that it won't break. But it's not flat. It's not even. So, try to do even layering all the way around. And then, trains and everything else will fall back into place here. That's fun. What's weird is that if I used the monorail, which I have sitting right here, it would actually be much smaller and a little bit easier to fit into the beach town. Yeah. Because in that case, I wouldn't have to worry about the giant real estate this thing would take up. It's actually pretty compact for the loop. The problem is, it still takes up a bit of space. I've looked at it once or twice before, and it's still going to take base plates, but just not as many, or because I don't have that many track pieces with it, not as long. Okay. So I no longer have a chair here because I took the thing out. And welcome back, Brick Rookie. Sorry, I'm really into the camera right now. So now the other area I have to take care of, or figure out in some way, is the wall I'm sitting against. So this is the wall adjacent to the staircase to come down here. And what I'm going to do with this wall, I want to take 2 measurements. I still have to color code them. I want to take 2 measurements that are from the edge of the staircase to a wedge, or odd area where the wall actually begins, because it's might be easier if I show you. It's here's the end of the staircase with a little bit of a border along to that wall. That wall is what connects around to the other wall. So what I want to do is, I may have to actually stop the stream. So I will do the measurements on my own, and we'll figure it out later.